It's my pleasure to have as part of our Local Heroes series, Rich Murphy and Jason Patton of Patton Plumbing, to talk about some of the things they did in response to the terrible fire we had up in Boulder County a few weeks ago, about a month ago. And as many of you will recall, there was a terrible wildfire that just completely wiped out whole neighborhoods in Superior and Louisville and in Boulder County. Because it had been so dry, we had just a giant wind that came through, and anything in its path burned. And then right after that, we had a snowfall and real cold, and people were without heat, without light, without a whole bunch of things, if they still had a home. And pipes were freezing like crazy. And I had a chance to talk to a couple city council people from Louisville. Maxine Most was who really talked to me about Patton Plumbing. And I said, what about Patton Plumbing? She said, these guys have been up here over the New Year's holiday and helping people, just going around trying to do their best to make sure people's pipes didn't freeze. And as I said, we're lucky to have Jason Patton and Rich Murphy join us today. So Jason, let me start with you. And just tell me what motivated you to get up to the Louisville, Boulder County area to help people?
Well, Thursday, like so many others, I was at home watching the news, watching the fires, just the devastation of it. And I woke up Friday morning drinking a cup of coffee and watching the news, and they said 80,000 houses without electricity or gas. And then they switched over to the weather, and they said it was going to start freezing and snowing. So I called Rich and a couple other guys that work with us and asked them if they wanted to go up and see what we could do to help people's houses from freezing and flooding out while they had no electricity or power. And that's kind of how it all started.
So Rich, did you just say, sure, I want to help, or how did you get involved?
Yeah, like I said, it was the same thing. I was sitting there watching with my girlfriend and my sons, and we were just trying to think of something to do. And frankly, unfortunately, in a lot of these disaster situations, there's only so many people that can go hand out bottles of water at gymnasiums or something like that. And then, Jason called with the idea of doing this, and I was like, this is a great idea of something we can actually do. That's actually something, to our skill set that can help people,
Well, as I said, I had been up in Louisville. We'd been meeting with the FEMA administrator and some others as to how to respond to this devastation that we saw. So many people lost everything. I mean, the good news is 35,000 people were evacuated and only 2 deaths out of the 35,000 that had been evacuated. And then the Louisville City Council people were saying what a great job you guys were doing. And I was driving out of town. I needed to get some gas. And there you were at the same filling station I was, and we started talking. So tell me about some of the stories, some of the people that you met as you were going around the community offering services to make sure that their pipes didn't freeze. So either one of you want to jump in.
Well, when we first got up there, it was draining people's houses out, just making sure, draining their pipes out, making sure the stuff weren't going to freeze. But by the time Sunday came around, it was frozen pipes left and right. And I walked into some people's houses and their basement had 6-8 inches of water in it. It was so sad because they didn't lose their house, but they lost their house because it was full of water now. And at that point in time, we just started fixing broken pipes for free. We just tried to help out any way that we could.
So do you remember, were you able to get into the people's house sort of before they did, or at the same time?
At the same time. We drove around, and anybody we saw out on the streets, if we saw somebody out in front of their house, we'd just pull up and ask them, hey, needing help with plumbing? Got broken pipes, leaks, need help draining it down? then people look at us just like, kind of like crazy, like, what are you guys doing? Then we go do it, and then they would be just so grateful. It was just amazing, the feeling that it gave us to be able to help people out.
Well, I'll tell you, as you're telling the stories, I'm getting goosebumps because I remember how thankful Maxine was when I stopped by the rec center and was just talking to her, about how the community was responding. I mean, everybody was still in shock. I mean, some of the foundations were still smoldering, from the fire that had happened 3 days before that. So to have some folks, really good Samaritans, people who really have the community interest at heart, like you two, show up at the doorsteps, had to make people at least feel a little better. Rich, what was your experience?
Similar, at first people were kind of reluctant and wondering what we were doing, or if we were trying to, we weren't there for the goodness of our hearts. But, once they did realize that, we were just offering a free service, doing whatever we could to help out, then, I even met a lot of people that were trying to stick with it with space heaters and stuff like that. And we just, came through and gave advice of, if space heaters aren't keeping up, or if you decide to abandon ship, like, this is what you need to do, or give us a call. And, and just basically doing anything we could, either just talking with people or actually going in and doing a little bit of work and trying to save what we can. But watching that community, really come together afterwards. I mean, there was a young lady that was handing out burgers one day when we were out there, and it was just, such tragedy, but seeing the community come together was really, really amazing.
So have you been back up there at all to kind of check on folks, over the last few weeks? I went through the Rock Creek neighborhood in Superior a few days or this past weekend, and, still a lot of devastation, a lot of restoration type trucks up there. Have you guys been up, looked around lately?
We've been doing, because their water quality was very horrible up there before they got switched to the new reservoir. So we were doing a lot of water filtration systems for people at a discounted rate for Lewis.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about your business? I mean, I've said that you have a plumbing company, but tell the viewers where you are, sort of the
I've been plumbing since I was a kid. My stepdad was a plumber, got me into it. Worked big, gigantic corporate companies forever. In 2017, my wife and I were talking and decided to open up my own company, and she worked for hotels at the time. And then since then, now she runs everything in the shop, and I got a great crew. We're all friends, work hard, just enjoy our job, our lives.
And help your community. How big is
it? I have 6 guys.
Nice. And
my wife.
Rich, how did you come to get involved with this company?
It's funny, actually. Me and Jason have been friends a long time, and we actually it's a long story, but I was actually a general contractor on one of the big contracts he was doing as a plumbing company. And then that didn't work out so well for me, and I decided to take a little time off. And during COVID, he was struggling for some help, and called me up one day and asked me if I wanted to come work. And I was like, man, it's supposed to be a part-time thing, and I haven't left.
Aha! Well, that's great. And it's also so friends and family, and you guys are helping your community. So where are you located?
We're located out of Arvada.
Okay. And do you work throughout the Denver area, or special places?
We go everywhere.
Well, I think that, our community, when we've had COVID and then we had this fire, people really do come together. I mean, there's a lot of, conflict that we see on TV, but, when you really get down to brass tacks and to neighborhoods, I mean, folks stick together, and it's because of guys like you two. And I'm getting a little misty as I say this, but it's folks like you that really are the fabric of a great place that we live in the Denver area and in Colorado. And, when you're willing to volunteer your time and your skills to help your neighbors, as the two of you've done, I got to tell you, that's what makes a local hero. So any parting thoughts on from you two about, giving back to your community or the like? I mean, obviously you put whatever, you think about community into action by helping so many folks who were hurt by that fire. So let you two close this. Rich Murphy and Jason Patton, the floor is yours for whatever you want to talk about.
It was just, I felt it was a duty for me when I saw it on the news. It wasn't, I just wanted to do something and I was able to, and I'm just so grateful that I have the knowledge and the trade to be able to go help everyone out and was able to help so many people out. I'm just blessed.
Rich?
Yeah, honestly, something, along the same lines. I don't know about the local hero thing, but frankly, we talked about going out to Texas when Texas was freezing up because we had a skill set that could work out there. And, with it being so close to home, it was just, you got to do it. And you watch so many things on the news and you don't necessarily get to help out all the time, being far away from home, but being 10 minutes away from home. And I was on the border of the evacuation zone. I mean, we were just looking for something that we could do to help.
Well, you two may not think you're heroes, but I certainly do. And I know folks up in the Louisville, Superior, Boulder County area do as well. And just thanks for being good guys. Thanks for the skill that you have to be able to provide assistance when folks really had their backs against the wall. So, gentlemen, have a great day. Thanks for being on our Local Heroes program. This has been a lot of fun, and I'm sure I'll see you at another gas station